Welcome to the Tax Sale Podcast, where tax law investing is made easy. My name is Casey Denman. I'm a tax sale veteran and expert. I'm the author of the Tax Sale Playbook, founder of the Tax Sale Academy, and I am your host right here on the Tax Sale Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me on today's podcast episode. As a reminder, this is a completely free podcast and is brought to you through and because of the Tax Sale Academy. So if you are looking to learn more about investing in tax default real estate, make sure you check us out at taxsaleacademy.com. All right, so today we're talking about how you can expand your tax sale business into other areas, how to successfully invest out of area. Now, I've touched on this before, but if you want to know the single thing that grew my tax sale business exponentially early on in my tax sale career, it was learning how to expand to different markets. I had a year or two of what I would consider success in my local market. But no matter how hard I tried, my income became capped. I simply could not make any more money there. So I expanded to the next county over, then another, and another. Eventually, I expanded to another state, and another state, and another state. I went all in on this approach, and this single-handedly changed my entire business, my income, my eventual net worth, and my life. Now, I'm not sitting here trying to exaggerate to make a point. Without that growth in my business, because of my expansion into multiple market areas, I would not be sitting here right now. There is no way around it. Unless you have found an absolute gold mine of a local market, your income is eventually going to be capped. This could be the result of the quantity of properties sold, of the quality of properties sold, of the frequency of auctions, of the competition there, or a number of other different reasons. What I did was develop a strategy that worked in my home market. Then I took that strategy to another market and another. I was essentially cherry picking the most profitable properties based on my specific objectives. Now, I always suggest that people expand their market areas when they're in a situation where they're not doing as well as they think they deserve. But I always get incredible amounts of pushback. I hear things like, but it's not close to me. I don't know anything about that market. How would I do this? How would I do that? How do I handle the maintenance or the repairs? How do I sell the property if I'm not there? Or my favorite, I want to be able to physically touch the property. You know, when I was taking my real estate class back in the early 2000s to get my real estate broker's license, I remember being told by the mid-70s instructor that real estate is local. You need to be where the action is at, and you must drive around the area in order to get business. He was right for maybe a year or two, but this is not the early 2000s anymore. Just like we don't use fax machines, we don't need to be where we are investing. We have technology, we have smartphones, we have solutions to nearly every single problem at the tip of our fingertips. I can invest in tax defaulted real estate from nearly anywhere in the world. My office, while on vacation overseas, my vacation house, literally anywhere that has an internet connection. You don't need to be anywhere that you invest in. And it's not just me. I have many Tax Sale Academy members who are using this same strategy that are absolutely crushing it. And yes, some of them are not even from the United States of America. Most of those international members seeing success have never even stepped foot into the United States to invest. Brazil, Australia, United Kingdom, Canada, Mexico, Austria. Those are just a few of the countries off the top of my head that I remember. It truly does not matter if you're 100 miles away or 10,000 miles away. If you have access to the internet, you can invest and you can do it successfully. I've seen it time and time again over a decade plus teaching many people across the world. Now, obviously, this is something that we discuss in depth inside the Tax Sale Academy, including how to find, analyze markets, and all the details in between. But hopefully today's podcast will provide you with a little glimpse on how you too can utilize this same strategy. I've got 6 steps that I want you to follow to start investing in areas that are not local to you. The first step is to identify a target market. And we start first on a nationwide level. The first part of this process is to generally determine which type of asset you want to invest in. Tax liens, tax deeds. You can visit the link in the description in this video that will take you to my completely free tax sale state guide that'll help you get started and help you narrowing down the states. But by deciding which vehicle you want to invest in, you're going to cut out about half of the states. Now, once you've cut out some of those states, you can begin to look at the specifics of each state to see how they fit into your objectives. For example, some have auctions once a year, so depending on your timing, that might help you weed out some of those states even more. There are plenty of other ways to narrow down the states, but that'll certainly get you started. From there, you need to begin to narrow down that state based on the counties in that state. Open Google up. Browse some counties by simply typing a search term into Google that says something like Harris County, Texas, tax sale, or whatever it is in the area that you're investing in. Click on their site and look for things like auction dates, auction lists to make sure they have auctions upcoming and that there are a sufficient quantity of properties being sold. At this point, you should have a handful of potential markets that you can invest in. The next part of the process is to research the market. Set the list to the side and start researching the market to see if you even want to invest there. You should spend sufficient time researching that market so that you're extremely familiar with everything happening in that market, the good areas, the bad areas, the economy, the major employers, where development is headed. You should know the market, so make sure you invest the time required. Once you've established that it isn't an area with something like a rapid negative growth population, it's time to dig deeper and determine what your responsibilities are as an owner there. If you're to buy a property, what is required of you and can you handle it? Do you need to mow your yard to abide by the city's weed ordinances? Do you need to shovel the snow off of the sidewalk? Do you need to board up any broken windows? Do you need to do anything special? Is the tax rate insanely high, for example? What exactly will you be required to do from both a maintenance and financial perspective in order to be an owner there? This is also going to play a role into your investments there, of course, and how much you spend. And in some cases, you might decide that an area is so far over the top, you don't have any interest anymore in investing in that area. You'll determine all that in that step. The next part of the process is to research the tax sale list. Now, I've got loads and loads of videos on performing tax sale due diligence, so please take the time to watch them or listen to episodes related to them on this podcast. And of course, if you're in the academy, there's so much information there that'll help you out. But in short, you're going to be performing your initial tax sale research just like you were if you were reviewing the tax sale list from the market that you live in. Obviously, due diligence can change slightly depending on the market, the area, and the property type. But once you learn how to research real estate, it's going to become second nature for you. In addition to the typical due diligence, make sure you pay special attention to all the things that you learned during the market research process to determine how it's going to apply to those properties you are now researching. So for example, in areas that have very strict ordinances and active code enforcement departments, maybe you avoid buying in a specific city limits inside of the county. So you might buy it in the rural areas, but not inside a city in one particular county, for example. This isn't implying that you're an irresponsible property owner, but if you know the grass has to be mowed every 2 weeks during the summer, that's going to hurt your margins, especially on some of the lower valued lots, for example. The next step is to get eyes on the property. This is the final part of the due diligence process and should only be done if you are nearly certain you're going to buy or bid on that property, should your physical inspection confirm what you researched online, because it is the most time-consuming and expensive part of the research process. So these are only the properties you're just about certain you're going to purchase. Now, there are multiple ways you can do this. Obviously, if you're near the property or traveling near the property, it's always going to be the safest bet to see the property with your own two eyes. And the more money you're investing, the more important this is. If you're spending $5 million on a property, you probably want to go visit that property yourself unless your net worth is well into the billions, right? But if you're looking at a property on the other side of the country and that property maybe has a value of $2, $3,000 on the open market, it might not be worth it to travel to that property, depending on your margins and what other properties are there at that auction. Or maybe you just don't want to travel there at all, in which case I highly suggest hiring a local scout. Sure, this is not going to be as safe as putting your own two eyes on the property, but it is the next best thing when done correctly. Now, there are a number of different ways that you can do this that I discuss inside the Tax Sale Academy. And there are absolutely ways to do it where you have reassurances that everything is done accurately. And the best part is that you can have somebody local to the property do a drive-by for you for 5, 10, maybe 15 bucks. So it's very, very nominal when it comes to expenses. You can also have somebody local to the area take photos, provide their opinion, and do other little tasks for virtually no money. And their opinion could be extremely valuable to you, somebody who is not local to that area. So make sure you leverage technology in your favor. The next step, of course, is to attend the tax sale. This is probably one of the simplest steps. Many areas, especially since 2020, have transitioned to online tax sales. Simply register a couple of weeks in advance to ensure you have time to comply with any of their requirements, such as making a deposit or providing ID verification. Log on, place your bids. Pretty simple. Now, if the sale is not yet online and they do not accept absentee bids, and you're not local to the property or don't want to travel there, you can obviously find locals to go place bids for you. Again, there are certain ways you can do this to make sure you're protective, and you can even hire professionals to do this for you depending on your strategies. But bidding at a tax sale is rather easy. And the last part of this equation is making money, which is probably everybody's goal that's watching this video or listening to this podcast right now. When you're reselling a property, where else would you turn but the internet? Sure, put a sign in the yard, pass out flyers to neighbors. That kind of old school marketing stuff can work, but you're going to have much more substantial returns learning how to market the property online. Now, I don't know the current stat, but I know a couple of years ago, something like 92% of all people turn to the internet first for their real estate needs. I imagine it's probably closer to 96, 97% now. So learn how to market online. Learn how to leverage the internet to sell. Invest the time required to learn what you're doing when it comes to marketing the properties online. It's going to provide you with a much higher response rate than traditional marketing, an insane audience, faster resale, and higher margins when done correctly. So there it is. If you're looking to invest out of area, or perhaps you're somebody who lives internationally, these are going to be the steps to take. Research the different states and then narrow it down to the counties to find out where you want to invest. Research that market specifically to confirm that you want to invest in that market and to learn more about it. Find and research the tax sale list. Hire your local scouts to assist you with drive-bys and other tasks. Buy the properties at online auctions or send local agents to bid on your behalf. Then sell the property online. That's the exact process many of my most successful International Tax Sale Academy members have taken. Obviously, there are little details that you need to learn about each one of those steps, but that's the overall blueprint for out-of-area tax sale investing success. You can absolutely invest out area, and you can absolutely be incredibly successful doing it, because I've seen it time and time again. Just be sure that you take the time to learn what you are doing before you pull the trigger. That's all I've got for you today. I truly hope this helps you out. If it did help you out, please do me a huge favor and leave a positive review on whatever podcasting or video platform you're listening to us or watching us on right now. This podcast is free. I don't charge a listing or a membership fee or any of that stuff, but your reviews really help us out, and they might even serve to pay it forward to somebody else who learns about this incredible business simply because you took a second to tap a 5-star review or leave some positive feedback comment. And as always, if we can be of any additional help, make sure you check out our website at taxsaleacademy.com. Hey, take care and make it a successful day. We'll see you next time right here on the Tax Sale Podcast. Bye-bye.